What's going on, guys? I'm back with another one. I'm glad to be back as I just finished watching Rent-A-Pal, starring Brian Landis Falcons, Will Wheaton, and Amy Rutledge. First of all, I'm kind of starting Halloween a little early because not only am I bringing you this horror movie / thriller, I got another one following up after this one. So stay tuned for that as well. All right, now let's get back into that review. Rent-A-Pal. For those who are not aware of this movie, Rent-A-Pal is about a guy named David who's bound to a life of taking care of his mother day in, day out, day after day, hour after hour. He has no personal life, no love life, no sex life, no friends due to this, because she has dementia and he's the only option left after the father has passed away. So what David has taken upon himself to do is join a dating service, which, this is back in the 90s, back in the early 90s. So nope, we didn't have cell phones, of course. So they had to get up on dial up or rotary on their phone from a number that they got off a TV screen from a little advertisement. That's how they used to do it. They advertised it on TV. The people would give their information, the intro, likes, dislikes, all that, and then you call the number for that person. And that's what David was doing. And David was trying and trying. He kept trying until he got a number, a hit back, and I guess the intro was corny, and so she kind of denied and went with somebody else. And so, through his frustration, he saw a tape called Rent-A-Pal at the dating service place where he was at. Went ahead and purchased it, brought it back to the house, popped it in the good old VHS. Now, this tape happened to be hosted by a guy named Andy, very weird looking guy, strange dude, sweater vest and everything, who presented himself to David as his friend. Asked him deep questions, personal questions, played games with him, card games, whatnot. The strange thing about Andy, when he asked these questions to David through a TV, he responded back as if he could hear David talking. That was a strange thing. Now, what's even stranger is Andy begins to get, involved in David's personal life as if he actually knows what's going on with David's life. And it's all done through the same repetitive questions of the same video, rewinded back and forth over and over again, just different parts to make it like there was real conversations. It's really strange. And that's when, of course, the movie gets crazy because he's involved in his life now. Positives on this movie. Bro, this movie had such a high creep factor. It was so creepy. For some reason, when it comes to horror and thrillers, when it has that retro look, like the 70s, the 80s, even the 90s, it's just a scarier look to it. It reminded me of the actual VHS movies themselves. It reminded me of that because they had the whole tape, the staticky look when he watched the Rent-A-Pal video. When he watched it, the whole look to it was just so eerie. Plus the music in the background. Now, I love that. When the music in the background is eerie too, I love that. It gives the whole movie a feel to it. Like, if you turn the lights out and watch the movie, you are going to be paranoid as hell. I'll tell you right now. You're going to feel like Andy's talking to you. That's how it felt. And I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that. Also, it reminded me of the same dynamic or relationship that Joker had with his mother in the Joker movie. It felt like they took that aspect and then they did their own thing. Of course, they didn't go the Joker route. They did their own thing with the whole relationship between those two. And, they made it their own. Right? And I like that. Now, let's get to those negatives. Let's touch on those negatives, man. Because this movie, overall, it's a very interesting movie. Now, here's where it gets a little iffy. There's a question that must be asked within the movie. This is not a spoiler. This isn't a spoiling thing. When Andy's giving his little videos and doing his little questions, asking David his questions, the phone rings several times in Andy's video. Andy gets a little worried, a little sweat brow. He won't answer that phone. That little part is never explained. It's never touched upon. Why? Who is calling on that phone on the video? That was so creepy. But it still left an open question. Didn't hurt the movie. It just, it was an open end. And that might not even be a negative. That just made it be a little scarier. Like, what was going on there? That was really unanswered. That part was unanswered. Why was the phone ringing in the video? And why was he so scared to answer that phone? And I was like, watch that. I have a theory. I have a theory that phone was actually ringing on the other side and David's side, but David was just in a whole other world thinking it was happening in the video. And I also have another theory that Andy was Satan. Andy had to be Satan for all this to be going on, and talking to David like this, influencing him like this. Another serious problem that actually hurt the movie for me, the ending. The ending was light for me. It was for my taste. It was light for my taste. It didn't go hard enough. The ending was a little soft. Let's put it like that. The ending was a little soft. All right. This is supposed to be a horror/thriller. Now, psychologically, the movie did its thing. The movie will mess with your head. The movie has that high creep factor, like I just said. But as far as a slasher or to call it an actual horror movie like that, I don't know. I can't do that because it ended on a flat note. It ended on a very flat note. To call it a horror movie, I can't give it that. I can give it a psychological thriller. Psychological, not a horror thriller. Let's just correct it right there. That hurt it. That hurt it to the point where I have to give it an I cool. And you know what that means. But, on the contrary, I still recommend that people go see this movie. Please see it. You will be creeped out. If you like throwback type movies like this, you'll love it. You'll love it to death. You know what I'm saying? Just don't expect a slasher. Alright? I'll come back to you with another one. I'm not going to say what it is. Just like, share, subscribe.